Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Gut Health Happy Hour. We had a little technical difficulty, which is not uncommon around here. So, welcome back. So, what we are talking about today is leaky gut. This is super important, and I really am so happy that you guys are all here and that you have made the commitment to spend a bit of your Tuesday afternoon with me, because it is estimated that about 80% of Americans now have leaky gut, which is a really scary thing because it leads to all kinds of health issues, and we're going to go into that. As always, when we start the Gut Health Happy Hour, we want to get our bodies into what we call rest and digest, or it's called the parasympathetic nervous system. So we're usually in fight or flight all day long. You've probably heard of this term. We're in fight or flight all day long. From the minute we get up, usually, as soon as you check your phone, as soon as you have to take care of the kids, or, start watching the news, or check your work email, or go to work, we end up in fight or flight all day long. Now, our bodies cannot heal in fight or flight. It's not possible. So that's a lot of the reason why people get stuck in this place where they just cannot get to feeling good. And a lot of it is because we're in fight or flight all the time. So right at the beginning of this Gut Health Happy Hour every week, we're going to get our body into rest and digest, which is how we can actually heal, so that our body can actually do its processes, and we can learn, and we can process this information and digest this information properly, because we're going to get rid of all of our distractions. We're going to not be checking our phone every 2 seconds. We're going to give ourselves this time. I want you to take 3 big deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. As you do this, try and relax your neck. Try and breathe down into your diaphragm. So your diaphragm is your breathing muscle, but a lot of times we don't even get down into the diaphragm because we're breathing too shallow. When we're breathing shallow, it's telling our body that there's something to be stressed out about. So our body goes into fight or flight. The first thing that happens when we're in fight or flight is our digestion shuts down, because it's the most energy consuming process in the body. So it's really important for everybody to try and get into rest and digest when you wake up in the morning. So rather than reaching for your phone first thing, how about taking a few deep breaths, okay, before you eat? Take a few deep breaths. What that is going to kick on your digestion, because if you're in fight or flight, we can't digest food. We have to deal with stress. And that goes all the way back to caveman days. If you're running from a tiger, you're not going to be eating while you're running from a tiger, right? So we need to tell our body to get into rest and digest. So right before you eat, big deep breath. Okay, one more like that. And just let your body be still. Let your body be relaxed. We just don't do this a lot throughout the day. And this is the first step in the healing process. And the next thing we're going to do is gratitude. Gratitude will change your health like that. I promise you. So a regular gratitude practice is one of the very first things I teach my clients. When you get up in the morning, right before you eat, before you go to bed, writing it down is more impactful than thinking it. So if we can all just write down right now something that we're grateful for, put it in the chat. And we're going to do a different one each week. So I don't want you to do the same one you did last week or the week before. And we're going to play a drinking game because it is a happy hour. Get your favorite container of water. And every time I say the word gut, we drink. This is going to start to train you to drink more water, because most people are walking around severely dehydrated. And beyond getting into rest and digest, that is the second place where we can start healing, is when our body has enough water to work properly. Every cell in our body needs water, and all these processes that happen, that's how we transport all these things through our body that we need, is through water. So getting your body into rest and digest, drinking a good amount of water, these are 2 actionable things that you all can start doing right away. So remember, every time I say gut, we're going to drink. Right? Just training your brain to drink more water. So right off the bat, every Gut Health Happy Hour, we're already training ourselves to be healthier. So it's not all about the food, right? Everybody thinks, I eat healthy. How come I still have all these gut issues? It's about so much more than the food. And that's why when I work with my clients, If it was just about the food, I would just hand them a meal plan and send them on their way. We worked together for 16 weeks because we cover everything that you need to be a totally healthy person. It's just not about the food. In fact, out of the 12 modules in my program that I go through with my clients, only one of them is about food. And so that's why people, I think, get really frustrated because they're like, I changed my diet, I've been eating healthy, and none of my problems have gone away. And it's really frustrating because you're putting in all this effort and you're doing what you think is the right thing to do. And a lot of people go to their doctor and their doctor says, take extra fiber. Here's a prescription you can take that'll cover up your symptoms. Here's a over-the-counter thing. If you have problems, take this over-the-counter medicine. That's just covering up the symptom. So we don't want to cover up the symptom because the problem that's happening is still happening. Whether you cover up your symptom or not, that problem is still happening in your body. And it's going to cause much bigger problems down the road if we don't do something about it right away. Symptoms of leaky gut are your body's way of telling you something is going on, something is not right. And so we want to take care of it when it's a red flag and when it's not a complete disastrous bomb going off in your body, right? So we want to take care of it now. So what are the symptoms of leaky gut? How do you know that you're in the right place? I do have a leaky gut quiz. So if you have not taken that yet, drop the word quiz and I will send that to you and it'll give you a score. So you can see if you are in the clear or if you're like mildly maybe having leaky gut or if you really need to address this like right away, I will send you that quiz. So here are the symptoms of leaky gut. Any kind of gut issue, bloating, indigestion, heartburn, constipation, diarrhea, like belly pain, all of those things can be from leaky gut. Skin issues, joint pain, autoimmune symptoms, headaches. All of these things seem unrelated, but these things can all be related to leaky gut. And I'm going to tell you why. So if you have any of these symptoms, you are in the right place. Anxiety, right? Like any symptom in the body can come back to leaky gut. So any of these symptoms that you have, you're going to go to your doctor and your doctor is going to say, oh, you have constipation, just take Metamucil. But what was the cause of your constipation in the first place? And is that thing still happening? Right? That was a red flag that your body was trying to tell you something. So why was that thing happening in the first place? Or if you have heartburn and your doctor says, here's some omeprazole, and it covers up your heartburn so you don't have it anymore, but what was causing that heartburn? And whatever was causing it is still happening and it's going to cause something worse down the road, right? So rather than taking these symptoms and just putting a Band-Aid right over the top of everything, we need to figure out what is at the root. And what is at the root could be leaky gut. Now, leaky gut is only one step down. When we're looking at the root cause, leaky gut is one step down. But why is leaky gut happening? That's another step down. We need to keep asking ourselves, why do I have leaky gut? So here are some things that cause leaky gut. And I'm going to tell you exactly what it is here in a second too. So I told you the symptoms. Now here's what can cause leaky gut. Medications, over the counter or prescription, antibiotics, drugs and alcohol, excessive sugar, excessive processed foods, chemicals in our food supply, stress, gluten, pesticides such as glyphosate. So glyphosate is probably the number one cause of leaky gut in our society today. And if you haven't read it yet, I wrote an article for a magazine that is specifically talking about glyphosate. So if you want that, let me know. I will send that to you too. This is really an important thing, you guys. Glyphosate is the main ingredient in Roundup, and it is sprayed on just about every crop in America these days. If you buy organic food, you are more likely to not be getting glyphosate, but even organic food now tests positive for glyphosate because it comes from neighboring farms, through the water, through the air. Even our rain has glyphosate in it now. It's a really scary thing. So here's the problem with glyphosate. They say it's safe for humans in small amounts, which technically A small amount would be if you were only eating it every once in a while, but if it's in all of our food, then that's not a small amount anymore. But the problem is that glyphosate works on something called the shikimate pathway, and I don't want to get too deep here, but the shikimate pathway is how they kill the bugs. That's a metabolic pathway in bugs, and that's how it kills pests. It's a pesticide, right? The problem with that is that our gut bugs, our bacteria, our 100 trillion bacteria that live in and around our body use the same pathway, the shikimate pathway. So the glyphosate is killing, we're more bacteria than we are human cells. So I'd be more worried about what it's doing to our bacterial cells than what it's doing to our human cells. So the pesticide that's killing the pests on our crops is also killing all the good bacteria inside of our body. So that is a problem. So here's how leaky gut happens and why. So our first line of defense in our gut is our good bacteria. So we need all of this good bacteria to live in our bodies, and the bacteria have so many jobs. Like I said, there's 100 trillion. You can't even fathom that amount of bacteria, right? It's not even fathomable. But we have 100 trillion. So these good guys, they protect our gut, they create vitamins for us, they balance hormones, they help digest food. Our bacteria are in charge of everything. We have a gut-brain connection. These bacteria talk back and forth to our gut, from our gut to our brain. That's why things like anxiety and depression can come from gut issues. So these bacteria are the most important thing we can take care of in our whole body. Now, no one teaches this when we're young, right? This should be taught in elementary school and junior high and high school and college, and when you become a parent, because we end up killing our gut bacteria in our children when they're so young, and then they grow up with a life of struggle. So for instance, if you're born C-section, when you come out vaginally, the baby's mouth turns down towards the mother's anus and gets bacteria into the mouth. And that's how the baby's gut is populated with bacteria. Mother Nature designed it that way. So when you're born C-section, you miss out on that whole process. And there are ways that you could populate the baby's gut, but they don't do it. And so that baby can grow up with a whole host of struggles because their gut was never populated with bacteria. If you are not breastfed, the colostrum, the milk that comes out before the milk, seals up leaky gut. And so that colostrum is super important for babies because it seals up their leaky gut before they go out into the real world. They get that colostrum. So right away, those two things in our medical system that no one is teaching us is causing us a lifetime of issues. And then, of course, what we feed our children and how many rounds of antibiotics we give them is all going to affect leaky gut as well. So every time you take antibiotics, you might be killing whatever you're trying to kill, but also you're killing your first line of defense. All that good bacteria in your body, you're wiping those guys out as well with every round of antibiotics. And no one tells you how to build it back up. So what happens is we deplete our first line of defense, our good bacteria, through the years of all these things that we do to our bodies. And then the gut lining, so it's a really thin, it's like almost like a sheet of cellophane. It's so thin because you want certain things to get through. You want it to be permeable enough to let your vitamins and nutrients through, minerals and things into your body, because that's where we absorb. That's how we get vitamins into our body, is through that intestinal lining. But when we lose our first line of defense and then we keep doing damage to our body with more medications, more processed foods, more stress, not enough sleep, all of these things start to weaken this gut lining. And now these little teeny tiny holes, like picture it like a coffee filter. So the coffee filter lets through what you want in there, right? Just the delicious coffee in the water without all the grounds. Once those holes start to get bigger and bigger because it's of so much damage, now we're letting all the sludge through into the body. So imagine what you would do if you poked a bunch of holes in your coffee filter. This is a reference from my gut guru, Dr. Pedre. If you poked a bunch of holes in your coffee filter, imagine all the sludge that would come down into your coffee cup. That's what we're doing when we have leaky gut. So in essence, we put food into our body. We want to absorb the vitamins and minerals, and we want all the waste product to go out through the colon, out in our poop, right? Or our pee. But when we have leaky gut, now these things are allowed to sneak through into our bloodstream. So now we have toxins circulating in our bloodstream. And that's a really dangerous thing. That's why leaky gut can cause things like thyroid issues, joint pain, headaches. It doesn't seem like that would be possible, but once what leaky gut is, now it all makes sense because your blood clearly goes throughout your whole body. Your liver has to filter your blood. So we're burdening our liver with every toxin that we put in or on our bodies. And this isn't just alcohol. A lot of people think liver problems are from alcohol. It's sugar. It's our beauty products. Everything you put onto your skin gets absorbed into your bloodstream, and your liver has to filter all of that. It's all the chemicals in our food and our air and our water, all the glyphosate that we are taking in these days. Glyphosate was introduced in the late 70s or maybe mid 70s. And you can see a direct correlation with glyphosate and health issues. It's a literal direct correlation. And so it's directly causing leaky gut. So while our FDA says it's safe for humans, it's causing us all leaky gut. So clearly we've got some health issues going on in this country. What is the cause of it? And why is nobody doing anything about it? I won't say nobody. That's not fair. But as a general population, very few people are really getting to the root cause of our issues, right? So when that gut becomes leaky, now we have toxins circulating through our body. And what does your body do with toxins? Holds them in our fat cells. So if you have stubborn weight that you cannot lose, it's probably because your body is doing you a favor. Your body is always protecting you, I promise you that. People think, oh, my body is turning against me. Your body's trying to give you red flags. Your body's trying to give you signals that something is wrong. And if you don't do anything about it, it's going to keep giving you more signals. If you keep putting Band-Aids on top of a gunshot wound, it's never going to heal. And that's what we keep doing. We keep just putting Band-Aids on. So getting to the root cause of what's going on is what is really going to help you lose weight, figuring out why I gained all this weight in the first place, and being able to get rid of those toxins out of the body. Then your fat cells can safely dissipate. I hope that makes sense in a sense that especially your belly fat. So your other fat around your body may not be that same case, but your belly fat is trying to protect your internal organs from those toxins that are now leaking through your body. So your fat cells snatch onto them, hold onto them to your life because they don't want those toxins to get into your heart and all of your other organs. So your body is so intelligent. It's doing you a favor by holding onto those toxins for you. Now we need to safely release those toxins to be able to lose that weight safely. So that's the problem with all these weight loss drugs and things like that. We're not getting to the root cause. You might be able to take a drug and lose weight, but at the cellular level, your body is unhealthy. We need to address the body at the cellular level, make it healthy in the little cells of the body, make those healthy, then give the body the ability to heal itself, right? That is what we really need to do. So how do we go about addressing leaky gut? What I do with my clients is a 4-step process. And it really needs to be done in this way to really get to the root and solve the issue with the problem. If you pick a dandelion and you just pop off those flowers, that dandelion is going to get huge. What I do with my clients is we get to the root, pull that weed at the very root of it so that it doesn't come back and it doesn't grow. If you just keep picking off the top of a weed, it's going to grow crazy big and it's never going to go away. We need to stop picking off the top of the weed. We need to get to the root. And how I do that with my clients is a gut microbiome test. We need to find out your digestive blueprint. Your digestive blueprint is totally different than anyone else in this entire world. 8 billion people, something like that. No two people have the same gut microbiome. So what we do is we test your gut to see exactly what is going on in there. Do you have enough good bacteria? Probably not. No one I've ever tested has enough. Do you have an overgrowth of pathogenic bacteria or bacteria that is supposed to just be coming in and going out, but has now been allowed to take over and grow because there weren't enough good bacteria? The good bacteria will crowd out the bad. But if we don't have enough good, the bad can overgrow. So do you have enough good? Do you have too much bad? What exact species are you missing? Some people are missing total species of bacteria that are essential for health. So we need to see what those species are to be able to replenish them. So that's why people get really frustrated when they just take a probiotic and maybe it helps a little bit, but maybe not, because what if those aren't even the strains that you're missing? We need to figure out, is your body digesting protein? If your body is not digesting protein well, and the protein ends up in your large intestine, you really want protein to get absorbed into your small intestine. If it ends up in your large intestine, it causes all kinds of toxic byproducts that can be causing you all kinds of things like constipation and bloating and diarrhea and things like that. So maybe you're not digesting protein well. Maybe you're not breaking it down in your stomach. There's so many things that we can tell from this gut microbiome test. So that's how we know, number one, where to start. Number two, you've got to get all of your nutrients. Only 1 in 10 Americans gets enough nutrients from their food. This is a mind-blowing statistic because back in the 40s, people got all their nutrients from their food. Not only were there not shelves and shelves in the store filled with processed foods, now there's only the perimeter of the store is real food. That whole middle of the store is processed foods, right? But there wasn't a McDonald's on every corner. There wasn't so many chemicals in our food. There wasn't glyphosate. And our food was grown in mineral-rich soil, which farmers just aren't doing that anymore. Yes, there are farmers that are, but the big crops that everyone is growing, they're growing one crop, which they're not supposed to do, and they're not mineralizing the soil. So our food is depleted of nutrients. We are putting chemicals into our body that are killing our good bacteria and destroying our gut lining. Plus, we have so much more stress than anybody ever had, right? So we need to make sure you're getting all of your nutrients. So testing the gut, see exactly what's going on. We need to make sure you're getting all of your nutrients. There's different ways of going about that, but in my program, I have one of the only guaranteed ways for you to get all of your nutrients. And we need to reset your digestive patterns. So there is a digestive pattern that people have. They're either an emotional eater or they're a stress eater or they eat too much or too fast or too little. So we need to get your body into a good pattern so that your digestion can get back on track and start working again. We need to make sure you're not in fight or flight 24 hours a day to get that digestive pattern working again. So I assess my clients and see what's going on with their digestive pattern to reset it. And then we've got to get rid of the toxins. So if you have toxins circulating through your body and you keep putting toxins into your body, the body is not going to work right. So we've got to safely get those toxins out of the body. And you don't just want to really just do a random detox on your own. You could end up recirculating the toxins through your body and making yourself sicker. Detoxification is a 2-phase process. So you want to make sure you're doing phase 1. Phase 2 is what actually gets it out of the body. So if you just do phase 1, they're going to keep circulating. And that's why people end up getting sometimes sicker when they detox. So it's an important thing to do it the right way. So test the gut, see exactly what's going on with your digestive blueprint, your bacteria. Get you all of your nutrients. 90% of you in this group are not getting their nutrients. So that's a really scary thing. Your body simply can't work right without all of its nutrients, vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and fiber and protein and all of these things that we need to build. We literally build our body out of what we eat. We need to reset your digestive patterns and we've got to get rid of those toxins. So when people say to me, what can I take for leaky gut? You don't really take something, right? What do I take for bloating? What do I take for heartburn? That's not what I do with my clients. We don't address one symptom. We address your body at the cellular level, get your body working properly so that it can heal itself. And that's really the only way to really get rid of things for a lifetime without just covering them up with Band-Aids and making things worse in the process. There are things that can help you with your leaky gut if you are going through this process. Bone broth is great. Bone broth is one of my absolute favorite things. Great for helping to seal back up that leaky gut. But again, if you don't have the right bacteria, it's not going to do you any good because your first line of defense is gone. If you want my bone broth recipe, my homemade bone broth recipe, drop a bone broth in the comments and I will send it to you. I also have some videos in this group. Usually when I do this leaky gut workshop, it's 3 days. So I'm really trying to shove it all into 30 minutes right now, which my slides would have been really helpful for. But usually day 2, we do bone broth together. And bone broth is great because it has so many minerals in it. Almost everybody is really mineral deficient, and that's mostly because our soil is so depleted. So bone broth has tons of minerals in it. It also has collagen, which is going to help you seal up that leaky gut. And just so many vitamins. We put vegetables in there, and we put really good high quality bones in there. And that is one thing that's going to be really beneficial for leaky gut is bone broth. There are supplements that you can take. Of course, you can take probiotics. You can take things like glutamine. These things are going to be helpful for leaky gut. But again, if we don't get rid of the toxins and we don't rebuild the first line of defense, you're just going to be spinning your wheels. So just taking something for a symptom isn't the right answer, right? Like getting to the root cause and getting your body happy at the cellular level so it can heal itself. Like I don't heal you, you don't heal you, a supplement isn't going to heal you, a food isn't going to heal you, although I do call some foods healing foods because they will assist in the process. Your body heals itself when it works right. And unfortunately, with the way our world is today, it's extremely difficult to have a properly working body. The system is against us. Our food system is against us. Our medical system is against us. We need to take care of our own body. We need to take control of our own health. Because if you're just relying on your doctor for all the answers, you're never going to get healthy. Now, doctors are great for some things. Yes, absolutely. But your doctor is not going to give you the tools to become a vibrant, healthy person. It's just, that's not how our system works. They don't have time to do that. I probably spend 40 hours with my clients and we go over food, we go over leaky gut, we detox their body, we do Pilates, we make sure they get good sleep, we make sure they can manage their stress, we get them a morning routine. Your doctor is not going to do all of this for you, right? So we need to take control of our own health and not let our doctor be in charge of it. Yes, your doctor's going to help diagnose you and things like that, but really there's a big gap between what your doctor diagnoses you with and feeling good and vibrant and thriving. There's a big gap there. So that is what I do with my clients. I fill that gap and we get rid of their gut issues in 16 weeks or less. Get their energy back, get them sleeping through the night, get them in a good mood all day long. That's the best thing about gut health is you're just in a good mood all day long because of that gut-brain connection. That's my goal for you guys. That's why I started this group. I don't really care if you have heartburn or bloating. Yes, is it uncomfortable? Yes, but what I want for you is a lifetime of health. I want to expand your health span, the number of years you live healthfully. You know, your lifespan is the number of years you live. The health span is the number of years you live pain and disease free. That is what I want for all of you. And the way to do that is to get to the root cause of your issues. And leaky gut is probably in there somewhere. If you're in this group, it's most likely you have leaky gut. And doctors don't really recognize it because they aren't trained on it. They're not knowledgeable about it. It's in the books. It's called intestinal hyperpermeability. But it was never really a big thing because I think it has just become so prevalent in the last generation because glyphosate started in the mid-70s, among many other things. But so I've got my bone broth article for you. I've got the glyphosate or bone broth recipe, glyphosate article, the leaky gut quiz. Those are great places to start. I do offer totally free phone calls to every single person in this group if you want to dive deeper on your issues and get next best steps moving forward. I think I have that link. I will drop that link for you. Go ahead and book a call because That is the way we're going to really get to the root cause of your issues. If you want to just stop putting band-aids on things, then let's book a call. And the call is totally free. We can do Zoom, we can do phone call, and we'll just get to what your goals are, what your issues are, and how we want to move forward. So I just dropped the link to book a call in the chat. So anybody and everybody, please book a call. I want you to have next steps moving forward. And I would love to work with any of you. I only have 3 spots left in my program right now, and then it'll go on a wait list. But I'm super happy to still talk to any of you, even if those spots get filled up, because I want you to truly take control of your own health, and I'm here to help you do that. Especially as women, we're always taking care of other people. We're always taking care of our kids and our dogs and our job and our house and our neighbors and our parents. But we need to take care of ourselves so that we can help all of these other people, so that we can live a long life and keep taking care of our kids and our grandkids and everybody else. Because we can't do that if we're sick. And I want you all to be present for everything that you want to enjoy in your life, whether you want to travel, whether you want to run around with your grandkids, do art, start a new business, whatever that is. You can only do that if you're feeling really good. I know I felt like shit for 35 years. I had gut issues. Doctors just told me, one doctor told me I must just be defective. So I get it. I've been there. I had to do 10 years of trial and error and studying and work and school and books to get to the place where I am now, which is why I want you to get there much quicker, 16 weeks. That's why I took everything I've learned and put it into a very comprehensive program to get you feeling your absolute best by supporting your body so that it can heal itself. But on that note, does anybody have any questions? Some of the most common questions I get, what foods should I avoid? There's a lot. And until we can get your gut healed, which is never going to be 100% healed, but on that healing process, then you might be able to add these foods back in. And your gut will be so strong it can handle it. That's my goal with all my clients. Let's get your gut so strong that when you do eat these foods, it's like you're a brick wall. Nothing affects you, right? But processed foods with a bunch of chemicals in them. Seed oils are some of the worst. Canola oil, sunflower oil, corn oil, soybean oil, all these oils are really inflammatory for the gut. So try and avoid anything with those oils. Deep fried foods especially, like those are just marinated in canola oil, anything that's deep fried. Excess sugar. Don't worry about sugar from fruit. Sugar from fruit is wonderful for you. It's packaged up by Mother Nature perfectly for you. Too much gluten. Now, the gluten of our grandparents' day was not the gluten of today. It's a totally different crop, and it's heavily sprayed with glyphosate. It's one of the heavier sprayed crops, wheat. So, yeah, our grandparents could eat gluten just fine. This gluten we eat today, it's Franken gluten, and it's just doused in glyphosate. So it might be something you might want to try just to see if you feel better. And then now, like I couldn't eat gluten for 10 years. I can eat some again. I don't very often, and I make sure it's organic and doesn't have a bunch of chemicals in it and all of that. But I've now gotten my gut strong enough to the place where I can have some gluten again. So those are the big ones. And just trying to eat real food. Like we've gotten so far away from eating real food. Fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, meat, plants. Like real food is what your body knows what to do with. Your body does not know what to do with all this crazy chemical-laden food out there. It's not food. So it becomes a toxin in your body if it's not real food. So if your gut lining is compromised, you're not absorbing nutrients, and your nutrients are in charge of everything in your body. So just that right there means that any symptom in the body can be affected by leaky gut. And anything in your body can be affected by toxins. And the leaky gut is what's letting those toxins through into your body. Is this a good group for someone with celiac? Yeah, so celiac could potentially be caused from leaky gut. And I've actually spoken to a gal who reversed her celiac by improving her leaky gut, but all the other things I've talked about as well, making sure she gets all of her nutrients, sealing back up that leaky gut, getting rid of the toxins out of the body. She went from being hospitalized multiple times to reversing her celiac, and now she can eat gluten again. Now, I'm not saying that's possible for everybody, but it is a sign that celiac it's not necessarily just something people are born with and you can't do anything about. There's more likely a root cause to it. And the root cause, in my mind, is probably leaky gut, as with most autoimmune issues. So when you have an autoimmune issue and you have all these autoimmune symptoms and they say that your body's attacking itself, it would make more sense to me if the toxins got through your leaky gut, have landed in your body, if they attack your thyroid, if they land in your joints, then your body creates inflammation wherever those toxins end up. And that's when your body will probably start attacking those toxins rather than itself. It's probably attacking the toxins that have gotten through into your body. And so celiac may be a case of that, where your body has attacked itself because the toxins are settling wherever that issue is. And by sealing back up that leaky gut and not letting any more toxins through and detoxing everything else out of your body, so your gut lining is more than just a sheet of skin. There's a mucosal barrier. There's all these bacteria. There's so much that goes on in your gut lining. So we need to rebuild back up that whole good gut lining barrier. So if you have celiac and you haven't done any gut rebuilding work, there's probably a lot of symptoms that are going to accompany it. And you're probably more sensitive to if you get some kind of cross-contamination in a restaurant or something like that, because your body is still on the struggle bus. It still has inflammation. It still has a weak gut lining. So you might actually end up with more food sensitivities to more foods, because every food that sneaks through your gut lining into your bloodstream, your body might now see it as a toxin. So that's why if you have multiple food sensitivities, that it could be from leaky gut. And if we can get rid of those toxins, seal back up your leaky gut, improve the gut barrier, you might be able to eat those foods again. So I'm not necessarily saying that with your celiac, but with a lot of food intolerance and food sensitivities, you can start eating those foods again once you just repair the integrity of the gut lining. My doctor told me lupus was being caused from leaky gut. And this pushes more pain meds and pills. I'm sorry to hear that, Tammy. I can barely even walk now, and he just upped the doses of pain pills. So in effect, he's just making me sicker. Yeah, so unfortunately, it's really the fault of the system, not necessarily the doctor, which a lot of doctors have now chosen to go from Western medicine to functional medicine. So this goes for all of you out there. If you go to ifm.org, you can find a functional medicine doctor in your area. In functional medicine, they do look for the root cause. So what I do a lot in my practice is I have my clients go to a functional medicine practitioner, and we work simultaneously with this client. Because again, this doctor doesn't have time to do everything I do with my clients. This doctor has time to see you for an hour or something every few months, right? Where I work directly with you on the daily. So functional medicine doctors and I will work together to make sure that this person gets the best treatment. So ifm.org, put that in here. So you can find a functional medicine doctor in your area. So a lot of doctors are switching from Western to functional because they realized that all they were doing was handing out pills. And so they really wanted to be able to help people at a deeper level. There are a lot of great doctors who really care and are really trying to do their best. But at the end of the day, the system is set up in a certain way, and that's what they were taught in medical school. I have had doctors tell me anywhere between a week and 2 weeks of nutrition learning in medical school. I had 14 months. So if that just tells you a little bit of a difference. And I'm not saying I'm comparable to a doctor in any way. Doctors are very good at what they are trained to do, but this isn't exactly what they were trained to do most of the time. Having a combination of a great doctor and a great health coach is really an ideal situation that is probably going to get you to that place where you feel good for the rest of your life. So if you have any questions about any of that, please let me know. And you can always put questions down underneath this video and I'll come back and answer them. You can always post questions in the group. I really love for things to be interactive, and I want you guys to feel like it's our group, not my group, so that we can all get help and support each other and lift each other up and give each other answers that if someone else has been through something that you're going through, maybe they can help you too. I certainly don't have all the answers. I'm just really happy that you guys are all here, and I will see you next Tuesday, same time, 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern. Gut Health Happy Hour will happen every single week. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you all. Have a wonderful Tuesday evening, and I'll see you next week, same time, same place.